Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inspiring Hope, where we shine the light on people who are making a difference in our world. I'm your host, Lois Herman, and today I'm delighted to have a fellow traveler, spiritual enthusiast, and an amazing member of our energy clearing and alignment team, Sharon Hoffman. And speaking of travel, we've been talking about the travels we've been on lately and wanted to share with you some tips, some pointers, some ideas about what to do and what not to do when you're an energetic person and you're traveling this beautiful land we live on. So, Sharon, you just got back from an amazing journey across the West Coast.
West Coast, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about your adventure, because you went specifically in a Jeep for a reason.
I went specifically in a Jeep for a reason. Well, the biggest reason was the car that I originally wanted to take broke down. So Greg and I decided to take our Jeep, and just like a week ago, we had taken off the top. So we put on this bikini top, and he said, "Do you want to put the top back on? Because we got to take the Jeep now." And I said, "No, I want to see the stars at night, feel the sun and the wind. I want to be one with Mama Earth." That's what we did.
And what was that like? The
It,
pluses of that.
well, it was amazing for all those reasons, but it was also very hard on one's skin, one's clothing, it got cold, it got really hot.
And your hair, right?
And your hair, you got to figure out what are you going to do with all this hair because it gets.
Yeah.
So,
It's like riding a motorcycle, or I used to have a convertible back in my 20s,
all
and I
right.
wore a bandana, right?
Yeah, bandana, or on a motorcycle you have a helmet, so you're good. A hat might work, but the hats blow
Yep.
off, even the caps. So, talking about listening to what you do on a trip. Well, I listened to my intuition. I kept seeing Marilyn Monroe in her convertible. Actually had a woman pass me in a convertible that looked like Marilyn Monroe a few
Wow.
weeks prior. And she, you have the whole headdress thing with the scarf and the glasses. I don't wear sunglasses, but that's what I ended up doing finally the third day. And it works amazing.
Yes. Yep.
So listen to your intuition is another tip.
Right. Because as you were talking about, the wind is wonderful, but the wind can also be draining because it's positive, negative charge. It can really
Mhm.
drag and drain on your energy. And so you were saying that typically you could drive in your car. I know we drove down south and made a 3,000-mile trip, round trip down south to visit friends and family. And some of those days, they were, 9, 10-hour days. They were long
Yeah.
trips. You can do in a car that's vacuum sealed, if you will. But when you're open to the elements like that, it takes a toll on you, right?
Well, yeah, that made us have to cut back our trip. We had to get rid of half of our trip.
Oh, wow.
So, because we had to do it in 5 hours,
Yeah.
where to the next point, it was just too hard. Plus, we had a little dog, our 7-month-old puppy, and she couldn't deal with the wind. And one day the wind from Wyoming and the rain was coming in, and we had her in this little box in
Oh,
the back, a crate. And she comes forward, crawling towards me, because the wind was like, and as soon as she got in my lap, her little crate started going up. So we had to throw stuff in it to keep it from going up and out.
so it was quite the adventure. And you
Like the England.
actually spontaneously ended up at Mount Shasta, among
Yeah.
other places.
So that's another reason to listen to your intuition, because we couldn't do half our trip. So we started coming home. We thought, we can't do this. This is too hard.
Mhm.
And I got to this one place, and Greg said something to me. He said, "Well, we have this mechanic that says a Jeep can get anywhere. You may take you longer, but you can get there. It'll get you there."
Yeah.
For all you Jeep people. So I got this wild hair intuition going in my head, and I said, "We're doing this, but we're going to go a different route. And this is the route. I've always wanted to go to Mount Shasta. We're going today."
And good for Greg for just allowing, just
And he's going,
honoring the goddess energy.
okay.
That's
So, so the intuitive and psychic clairvoyant gifted one was really excited at that point. I could handle more winds. I could handle more rain because I was going to go to Mount Shasta.
yeah, right. And what was that like? What was the energy like at Mount Shasta?
Well, it's for me, I was really excited the whole time there because I feel like I had a past life kind of in that area.
Mhm.
And you're going along, going along, and then all of a sudden these mountains go right in front of you. It's like, oh, the size of those mountains and their beauty is amazing. So I'm taking in all that amazingness and forgetting about the uncomfortable, being uncomfortable in
Mhm.
the heat, getting there. And so so the beauty of that feeling overtook the body uncomfortableness, I guess is what I'm saying.
Sure, sure. And then also just feeling the energy. So for
Mhm.
those that are unfamiliar, Mount Shasta, they say, is where the
Okay.
Lemurians ended up going. And both of us have
Hmm.
memory of being in Lemuria, which was
Hmm.
the original, maybe,
Hmm.
original inhabitants of Gaia, of Earth, where we were very, very spiritual beings living
Hmm.
in this idyllic land. Think Avatar. To me, that the concept of the way that they lived with the land and the trees and with each other, that's what that reminds me of Lemuria, the 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 beautiful race that the Avatar race. So
Yeah, and that's what I was expecting to feel all that,
yeah.
but I felt more kind of what had happened to it,
Ah,
more what was going on in the world now.
right. So you were
And
feeling some of the pain, the
I
sad.
was feeling the pain, but I was also feeling the healing, which is another reason I like to travel in a car or on a motorcycle, is because I can see the land, I can feel the land.
Sure,
In an
sure.
airplane, I'm not able to do that. I feel like I may be some kind of grid walker, perhaps. I gotta feel. I mean, everywhere we went, I kept forgetting to put my shoes on.
Well,
Oops, oh, I need those for that, but
for people who don't know, Sharon's
I
the type that's out in the snow in her bare feet. Now, I don't go that far.
get out of the car, put my shoes
I
on.
am in my bare
Oh
feet.
no.
That,
Um,
that was a hard thing coming back from I've been on two extended journeys this year. And that was one of the hard things for me was having to wear shoes
mhm,
because, my feet I work from home and I work in my gardens. I do wear garden shoes when I need to be digging, but for the most part, I'm barefoot and it feels weird to have to put shoes on for public use.
mhm. So how did you feel when you went down that river, the Snake River? Because I didn't go on it, but I saw it. We drove by it. How did you feel when you
Oh, it was amazing.
on the river?
So I had one trip down to the south and that has its own story. But speaking of the Snake River, I also went then the next month I went to Idaho to my husband's big family reunions. There were two of them. And while we were there, we took a jet boat ride down the Snake River into Hell's Canyon. And it was the canyon was majestic and magical and beautiful. And I could feel the amazing energy. I would like to go back and do it in a quieter boat because the jet boat was rather loud. And we did stop a couple of times where you could really get into the gentleness, the peacefulness of the caverns. And yet that's one of the fastest flowing rivers there is. So it's not a gently flowing river. It's
Mhm.
just magical to see the creatures, the nature animals. And there was a certain point where you could not, there was no more road access. The only way to get to the cabins beyond that was by boat. And there were a couple dozen cabins, but the only way to get there would be by
That's
boat.
wonderful.
It was really
I
magic.
love that.
Yeah. They told a story about this one high-end guy, this man that built this high-end cabin, and he came back to find all of his windows smashed out, and he thought it had been vandalized. But he also had cameras put in, and he had installed mirror window glass. And what it was a bighorn sheep that came along and bashed out all his windows because it was a competitor here in my land.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
that was pretty funny. So no more mirror glass down in those canyons because they saw several packs, tribes of the bighorn sheep and then the female sheep together. So it was just, we saw so much eagles and other amazing birds, blue heron, just so many different fabulous, fabulous Mother Nature in her finest, untouched by human hands, was just so amazing.
Well, I feel like when you're an intuitive, you really look for that and you see more. You might see more than somebody else.
Yep.
You might see something they and point it out to them
Yeah.
so they won't see it.
Yeah, it was interesting. My husband's daughter was with us, Stacy, and she was one of the ones. Oh, look at that! She was the one of the ones that was seeing these different animals on the side of the creek bed, riverbed. So it was interesting how she could key right into them. It was wonderful to be around all that energy. And then it was also challenging to be around some of the people. So we wanted to talk about when we are vibing at this high level and added unto the high vibe of being in nature at her most glorious,
Yes.
we get to be around people. And what happens is we are in that high vibe state, and then
Mhm.
we're around the people who are not necessarily vibing high and drain our energy in a couple of different ways. Sometimes they don't even see you because we
Mhm.
talk about putting on our protective bubble. We talk about putting on Saint Germain's violet flame, which is the Harry Potter invisibility cloak. Well,
Mhm.
what I discovered being around a lot of these people is they didn't even see me. They wouldn't look me in the eyes. They didn't
Mhm.
acknowledge who I was.
Did you
And
get run into?
no, didn't get run into, but I got, you know, and this has happened many times in the past. I felt ignored. And this time, because of my more observer awareness, I recognize that they're they're in 3D. And I'm vibing more at the 5D when I'm in that high vibe state. Would that I could stay there all the time, but it's the two different timelines, two different parallels. They just don't
Yeah.
even acknowledge or see you. And then there were other people who you had, this powerful, wonderful connection,
Mhm.
conversation, because you are on that wavelength, that wavelength match comes. So it was fascinating to kind of play the game of who do I get to communicate with this day, recognizing that I'm not going to communicate with the muggles, the people who are vibing at that lower level at that particular time, and then have these meaningful, wonderful conversations with people who are in that high vibe state. So it changes your perspective of why am I not being noticed or acknowledged?
Mhm.
It's because they don't even see us.
They don't, yeah, they don't hear you, they don't see you. They're just focused on something going on in their head, probably.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Did you
But
have
what,
that same experience?
well, I did, and I have on other trips, but what was different about this trip was I had my dog, my puppy, my 7-month-old bulldog with me.
Yeah.
And it took her out, and wherever we went, the people who we were meant to talk to or had the amazing energy that we could actually converse with
Right.
came right to her. They go, ah, you know. So she was like a beam of light that attracted these wonderful, interesting humans to us. And we could have these conversations. And the people who we weren't supposed to talk to that you're describing just kind of ignored her.
Mhm.
How can you ignore a cute little puppy? Just walk right by it. But
Yeah, because she's a high vibe little gal.
yeah, so I could see her giving light to all these people. Very, very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think one of the messages in that is that if someone is not acknowledging you, it's not about you.
Right. There's someplace
Yeah.
thinking about something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um,
we can send blessings and love and light and joy. I
mhm.
felt like, especially through my Idaho journey, I had adopted the mantra of she who lives with the most joy wins. So
Forget about
regardless of what was going on, I was intent on staying in that joy state. And
Mhm.
I achieved that for the most part. And when you're in that joy state, that's a high vibe on that consciousness scale. So people who are down in the grunge level of fear, blame, shame, anger are you're just not going to connect. And when you
No.
recognize that, it's okay. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my dog was willing to go on to the next person. Maybe I'll get a pet over here, or acknowledged over
Yeah,
here.
the dogs don't take it personally, right?
No, she didn't.
Next.
Yeah, next.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it was very, that was for me revealing,
yeah.
very revealing.
And one of the things that was revealing for me was number one, the beauty, the interesting, different
Mhm.
beauty being in this is on what's called the Palouse in Idaho, the lands that are wheat fields and wheat and granola, canola fields and garbanzo beans, that sort of stuff. But that they would just the rolling hills that went forever,
So
and the
beautiful.
sky the sky just
Goes
was
on.
huge. Where I live
Yeah.
in New England, there are a lot of trees, so you don't really see sky vistas like that. And it was just beautiful. The sunsets were glorious.
Hmm.
Skies went on forever. It was beautiful.
Yeah, the change in the land, that's what I like to see how it gradually changes.
Yeah,
What each different state is kind of known for, like certain colors or land masses or the rocks or the mountains, the rivers, how they change. Some are really quiet, some are roaring.
right. And the
Pretty
trees
strange.
too, and then the Northwest, there are a lot of fir trees and
Mhm.
prickly trees, the evergreens. They're beautiful. Living back east, one of the challenges we have is a lot of these evergreens are dying out from different types of pestilence, different types of disease. So there are a lot of deciduous trees. So it's a different texture to the trees and the vegetation.
Yeah,
It is beautiful in its own way, just different.
just different. And
Mhm.
then when you get to the beach, we went to the beach and again, another difference. And I call it the freezing cold beach because it's the beach. Northwest Beach is freezing cold.
This was, you were in Oregon?
We went to, no, Northern California.
Northern California.
It
Okay.
was cold
Wow.
and cloudy, but the trees, I mean, those trees, there was big palm trees, but pine trees right next to them. So interesting.
Mhm.
So I was entranced by the trees and the tree spirits, and I could feel their energy, and I just wanted to sit there and talk to all of them. So I took pictures.
Hmm.
Pictures.
Yeah.
There was a tree that I think I'll probably do a video on a TikTok.
Yeah.
There's a tree and we went to Carmel Valley, which I'd never been, and beautiful place. There's this tree. It was huge and its branches went into the ground and came back up again. I've never seen that. So you could actually sit on part of the tree that was in the ground and above the ground. So you could
Hmm.
sit in its branch and it was like it was holding you with its fingers or branches.
How beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. See, I'm just saying you'd see these things that you would never see
Right.
unless you did that, went on that journey and got out of your car and
Yeah. One of the things that reminds me of when the trip that we took down south, we went down to Virginia to meet a friend that I've only ever seen on Zoom. And it was wonderful to be able to connect with her real time and, a historic Virginia town. And then we drove down through to see my cousin in South Carolina, but on the way to Tennessee. And we traveled through the devastation of North Carolina where the hurricane hit. And to see that the roads had just been opened, and and it was fascinating to me to see the crews, the dedication of these crews moving all of the land and the rocks and the trees. And you could, as you're going through this area, you just see these big, majestic trees uprooted and just laying here, there, and everywhere. And just my heart went out to the pain and suffering of the land, of the trees, of the water, the rocks, the animals, everything that would have been affected. And so I was sending healing energy and love and just positive vibes, as I'm sure so many of us have done over the past almost year now.
yeah.
The people down there, the resilience was fascinating to me, how
Mhm.
the people were just rebuild after the horrific devastation.
What makes a difference when you see it like right in front of you,
Yes. Yeah.
either afterwards or as it's happening?
Hmm.
Hmm.
So
But
just,
I think I was seeing on this trip the healing, which was really healing for me.
okay. Yeah.
Because in past lives or journeys, I've been seeing the devastation of the past. And now seems like I'm being shown, no, we're fine. I'm this big tree. I'm beautiful. I'm holding you. We're coming back, and Mount Shasta, we're coming back. And I want to tell you an interesting thing about Mount Shasta
Yeah.
that, well, I expected it to be like Sedona, where there's all these shops, metaphysical, palm readers, whatever, crystal stores. It was so understated, beautiful, but understated. I think I saw one crystal shop, maybe one palm reader, but there was no amazing architecture. There was no huge shopping thing. It was just a quiet, small town, Mount Shasta, it's
It was
called.
commercialized.
Yeah, it was almost like the spirits wanted it to just be simple. It was very simple.
Nice. It felt right. Yeah.
It felt good because I was kind of, oh my God, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
But it was very simple, surprising.
And simple is good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Simple. And especially connected with nature. And that was, going back to Lemuria, which is, they say that's who's in Mount Shasta, are the
Mm-hmm.
ancestors, the Lemurian ancestors. Everything in that life was simple. It was nature. It was,
Yeah, they would want to keep it that way.
right,
And then the water was another amazing thing to me. The
right.
water was delicious right out of the tap. I
Hmm.
don't drink tap water.
Right out of the stream. Right out of the stream, you said.
You could drink it out of the tap.
Okay. Yeah.
They told me that that's how it comes right from the volcanic thing. They don't do anything to it.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, I'm going to taste this. I don't believe you. I can taste it if it's in there.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
Wow. I know here in New Hampshire, we have places where the spring water comes out and there's like a pump and you can actually pump straight from the spring and people do, they fill up their water jugs right there.
Oh yeah, I did that too in the stream. Yeah.
Yeah,
Took a
nice.
walk in the spring
Yeah,
stream and yeah, took all the water from the stream, the waterfalls.
nice.
Yeah.
And one of the things that both of us experienced in our return from our trip is the feeling of massive depletion. We're on this
Hmm.
high, traveling, meeting different people. And then we get home. And I know my Tennessee trip, because I was in the car for so many hours, my eyes were like almost gummed shut, just exhausted, exhausted. And I think that part of it is, well, you're in a vehicle with EMF exposure. The car itself is sending off energy. Plus, there's the intenseness of having to be careful as you're driving. But you also mentioned a couple of other things too, just the concept of looking at everything.
Well, you're just looking at everything, taking in, or I do as much as I can. I barely sleep when I'm on a drive like that
Yeah.
because I'm so curious, and my eyes were very tired. The wind, of course, dried them out, I'm sure. But I did the colloidal silver in my eyes a lot when I got home.
Hmm.
But yeah, taking that all in and just the attention, being the awareness, setting sacred space, like probably 3 times a day.
Yeah. And so
Um,
when you get home, just taking the time to reintegrate and to really realign your chakras because
yeah,
you've been out of your element. You're away from your sacred space. My home is my sanctuary, and
yeah.
planes, trains, well, not trains, planes, buses, automobiles, boats, hotel rooms, just everything is a different energy and it affects your energy in so many different ways.
Well, I found that I let my guard can finally relax because while I'm traveling, it's up. I'm
Right.
listening to my intuition. If a plan changes or I got to go down a different road or I got to watch the weather. We were in a vehicle. We had to make sure we didn't get stormed on.
Right.
we had a we had we couldn't do the plans we did, so all our hotels we had to change. So we were doing hotels on the fly. So you gotta, okay, is this hotel? Listen to your senses about this place. Does it feel like it's okay to stay here? You gotta put your head on that pillow. So how does it feel?
Mhm. Yeah.
And that is a lot.
And there were a lot of other experiences that you and I both had that we're going to discuss in a different show on Warrior Truths, where we can get a little bit more
Uh-huh.
spicy and a physical, shall we say.
Mhm.
So stay tuned, follow us for more on our Warrior Truth show because we're going to get into some of the spiritual attachment issues that we encountered on our journey that we probably shouldn't go into the inspiring hope. So keep your energy strong.
Mhm.
Do your sacred space, align your chakras. If you need help clearing your energy, reach out to us. That's what we do. We
Mhm.
are the Ghostbusters, other AKA. And I know that when I returned from one of the journeys, I was under I was under massive attack and was
Yeah.
my team had to help me to rise above. So
Mhm.
we'll go into more of that. Stay tuned for Warrior Truths, right?
Right.
Until next time, look up, stay positive, and be the light in someone's day.